spit, yeah, I drop the show.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Royalty Gamers and Podcast. I am Jersey the King, and today I'm bringing you another video for the series USFL Fresh Start. And today we're going to be going over the season review up to this point. So we're basically going to be doing a mid-season review today and break down everything we've gotten so far in these games. So sit back, relax, and let's get it popping. Let's roll.
Let's go, let's go, let's go. Yeah. Yeah. Go.
Y'all already know what it is, man. Roll up if you got to, light up if you don't. It's 4:20 somewhere, and it's time to smoke. Let's get high. Let's talk about it. Now, so far in the USFL, I can't lie. It is 420 friendly here, guys. I can't lie. It's been a decent games. There's been some decent games. Let me say that. There's been some decent games, and we've had some decent play. But what's killing the vibe on television watching, honestly, is the viewership. And I'm going to be doing a video about that as well. Like the attendance. Like the views are good on as far as watching, but the attendance, not so much. So I will be getting into a video about that, and we'll be breaking all that down. But today, like I said, we're going to be going over weeks 1 through 5. I'll be letting you guys know who all the players of the week are, the whole nine. We're going to be breaking all that down. And we're going to start off right now with, of course, week 1. Now, I was a little excited for week 1 because I'm like, okay, we got 3 new hubs added for teams to play at. I wasn't too thrilled about the fact that you add 3 more hubs, but teams have to share. Like, if you were going to add 3 more hubs, you might as well just went all in and added a hub for each team in their respective city. Basically, a field for each team in their respective cities. That way, they get the attendance that they need, and they have a home field. But anyways, like I said, I was still excited nevertheless, and we had some exciting games for the first week, to be honest. It was actually some pretty good games for the first week, and I can't lie, I felt that it was a good start to the season. Now, we start off with the Memphis Showboats, the team coming back from the 80s, because due to some issues with Tampa Bay, and I'll get into that in the next USFL Fresh Start video about the attendance and all that good stuff. I'll get into that in the next video. But due to Tampa Bay having to relocate or whatever, or going on a hiatus, as they call it, then we get the Memphis Showboats back from the 80s franchise. So now Memphis has a team again. On top of it, that's one of the hubs. I believe the stadium is called Simmons Liberty Bank Stadium, I believe. Let me double check, guys. Don't quote me on that. I want to make sure I tell you guys the right information because I want to be correct. Yes, Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium. That's what it's called. It's called Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium in Memphis, Tennessee. Yeah, and that's where Memphis has their home game. So here's the thing. Memphis has a home field. So does Birmingham. So does Michigan. We'll get into that in the next video. But, bam, we got Memphis taking on Philadelphia. Philadelphia actually went to the USFL Championship game last year and played against the reigning champions, of course, Birmingham Stallions. Lost. But they come in, and Case Cookus goes crazy a little bit, has a really good game against a defense that is starting to gel, or still starting to learn to gel together and work together and, you know, just put the Memphis franchise back on the map, right? Still, they win 27-23. Philadelphia does. Get their first win of the season. Of course, Memphis starts 0-1 at home. But they had a good turnout with their crowd. Can't lie. They had a really good turnout with their crowd. So, that takes us to game 2. when you have the defending champions, the Birmingham Stallions, taking on the third best team last year, I felt, in my New Jersey Generals. You know what I'm saying? I'm a New Jersey Generals fan. I'm from Jersey, of course, so why wouldn't I root for them? But anyways, guys, we get a pretty good game out of Birmingham. I'm going to just put it that way. New Jersey was lost. I don't know what the heck was going on. They were not together as a team on offense or defense, and Birmingham showed why they are undefeated against New Jersey within the last 2 seasons. From last year to this year, they're undefeated against New Jersey. Crazy, right? New Jersey starts the season off losing to Birmingham. But we'll talk about New Jersey here in a minute. Now, game 3, you get Michigan Panthers taking on the Houston Gamblers, and the Houston Gamblers are sharing a field with the Houston Gamblers are actually sharing the home field with the Memphis Showboats at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium in Memphis. So that's where they play their home games. Dumb. Anyways, they play their home games there, and they put up a good fight. I'm not even gonna lie. They're actually a surprising team this year. We'll get into them later on in the video, but they're a surprising team this year, and they're actually they actually put up a good ass fight in that game. But Michigan did topple them 29-13, and Josh Love went crazy. Josh Love came out firing on all cylinders, just going ham-burglar. So big shout out to Josh Love for coming in to Memphis, I guess, or Houston, and putting on a show with the Michigan Panthers and giving them the first win of the season and starting their season off way better than they did last year. So you got to give him that. That actually earned him Offensive Player of the Week. So with that, you know what I mean? Week 1's Offensive Player of the Week was Josh Love of the Michigan Panthers. And then you got Breland Speaks, which is the defensive end for the Michigan Panthers, went crazy on defense in Week 1, won the Defensive Player of the Week. Then we go to the Pittsburgh Maulers taking on the New Orleans Breakers. New Orleans playing and sharing the protective stadium field in Birmingham, Alabama. I believe that's the UAB field. And they put on a show, but for their fans, because they had a decent turnout, it wasn't too bad. But Pittsburgh was surprising. You know, they had a horrible season last year, and bless you, babe. And and they didn't do so well. I'm gonna just put it that way. But they did play very, very well in this game. It was a very close game. But New Orleans, their kicker, actually, Matt Coughlin, who won the Special Teams Player of the Week for Week 1, he bailed them out, making some key field goals that put New Orleans, over for that win, and got them the win in Week 1. And they came out, with a good showing for the most part. Like I said, there was some sloppy play, but there was a good showing on offense and defense as well. Week 2, you had the first game of the week, Houston going into Protective Stadium in Alabama, in Birmingham, and taking on the New Orleans Breakers. New Orleans is looking to go 2-0, and they do. And a very close game. This is what I'm talking about with Houston. They were getting their feet under each other, under themselves, and starting to figure out themselves as a team, doing pretty much way better than they did last year. Put it that way. Even with the loss, it was only a 38-31 loss. It was a really, really good game. It was a close game. It was a competitive game, and it showed. Now, I can't lie. New Orleans running back Wes Hills went crazy, y'all. He went nuts. Was just pounding the ball like he's like a running back supposed to do. You know what I mean? So big shout out to Wes Hills, and that actually won him offensive player of the week. Oh, excuse me. No, it didn't. I'm sorry. That's week 3. It happens, guys. But in our second game of the week, in week 2, we had Memphis Showboats going into Alabama, taking on the Birmingham Stallions. And, yo, I don't know what the hell Memphis had going on. I don't know who showed up to play. I don't know what the coaching staff had worked up for the week, but it damn sure wasn't to win or score points at all. They scored 2 points, y'all, and Birmingham blew them out 42-2. And Alex Magoo actually started at quarterback because I forgot old boy's name. Let's go back to week 1 real quick. Birmingham starting quarterback. His name is Jamar Smith. He got injured in week 1. He's out for the season, actually. So we won't be seeing him for the entire season. Possibly he could come back in the playoffs if Birmingham makes the playoffs and goes deep in the playoffs again. But as of right now, he's out for the season. They lost him in week 1. Alex Magoo comes in, and in week 2, like I said, they just blitzed the Memphis Showboats 42-2, y'all. 42-2. Like, what are y'all doing on that field? But that got Alex Magoo the player of the week for his performance on offense. Then we go to the New Jersey Generals against the Pittsburgh Maulers, and in this game, Pittsburgh just didn't have an answer. They scored 3 points. And at this time, Pittsburgh hasn't scored an offensive touchdown within the first 2 games of the season. So they start off 0-2, and even though they put up points in the first game, they didn't have any offensive touchdowns. So this was another game that they scored no offensive touchdowns. They scored 3 points. New Jersey went on to win 20-3. Then you get the Michigan Panthers with a surprising performance by Reggie Corbin, the running back. And he said it. He's like, give me the ball. Let me eat. And he did that. He ran all over them boys and led them to victory 24-10 over the Philadelphia Stars. And his performance was phenomenal. It was really, really good to see. It was really fun to watch, especially for him to get on the phone and tell the offensive coordinator, like, just feed me the ball and I'm going to run on these boys. And that's what he did. He did exactly what he told that offensive coordinator he was going to do. So it was fun to see, you know what I mean? And it gave you that football experience. Now, that game was held at the Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium in Canton, Ohio, which is one of the new hub fields for the USFL. The Philadelphia Stars and the New Jersey Generals share that field for their home fields. Then you have the New Orleans Breakers come into Birmingham and take on the defending champions. And this was actually, that was the last game of week 2. Week 3, you had the Birmingham Breakers come in and shock the USFL world and beat up on the Birmingham Stallions. But let me backtrack real quick. The players of the week for week 2 was Alex Magoo on offense, quarterback for Birmingham, the linebacker Frank Ginda from Michigan Panthers, and the kick returner Anthony Ratliff Williams from the Houston Gamblers. He was your special teams player of the week, and Frank Ginda was your defensive player of the week. Now, week 3, like I said, Birmingham was hosting the New Orleans Breakers, and surprisingly, the New Orleans Breakers came in there. Defense was on point, offense was firing, all crazy. McLeod Bethel Thompson was just going ham. Alex Magoo was getting stopped and pressure. He was getting disrupted a lot. I mean, he did make some good plays. He did lead his team to 31 points, but he had a tough night doing it. Let me just say that. And Birmingham takes their first loss of the season and drops to 2-1. Memphis goes into Houston, and this is when Houston's season starts to turn around as far as the beginning part of this season. They host their games right along with Memphis at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium, like I said. So basically, Memphis didn't even have to travel for the game. But they did have a close game. It was a close game. It was a competitive game on both ends of the both sides of the ball for both teams. Excuse me. And Houston edges out a win 30-26. And it was, like I said, it was a good game. And this is when Houston's season starts to take a turn in the beginning of the season, because we're actually going into the second half of the season. This is when their season starts to take a turn, right here with this game. And I say that because of next game. Well, their next game. Then you have a third game of week 3, Pittsburgh Maulers taking on the Philadelphia Stars. And with Philly coming off a loss, you would think them hosting their game, well, excuse me, I'm sorry. Philadelphia Stars share the Ford Field in Detroit. Detroit is now the hub field for the Michigan Panthers and the Philadelphia Stars. Excuse me. The Pittsburgh Maulers and the New Jersey Generals share the Canton, Ohio field. Sorry. Now, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, you have the Battle of Pennsylvania in the USFL. And surprisingly, Pittsburgh, Troy Williams in Pittsburgh comes out with their first win. They get their first offensive touchdown of the season. They come out with their first win, 21-13. In a competitive game, just Case Cookis couldn't get it done. Case Cookis and Corey Coleman couldn't get it done for the Philadelphia Stars. And that's what you got. You know, the Battle of PA was won by Pittsburgh this year instead of being destroyed like they got last year with Vlad Lee at the helm. Troy Williams, I feel, is a better fit for Pittsburgh, and he's proving it now. Then you get the Michigan Panthers hosting the New Jersey Generals, and you would think for the first home game for Michigan, with them being on a two-game win streak, you know, starting the season off 2-0, better than they did last year. They're prepared for New Jersey. They got a run game. None of that. New Jersey comes in, puts a hurting on them, 28-13. I mean, they just ran the ball all over them. They moved the ball in the air, but that defense stuffed Michigan's run game. That defense made it hard for Josh Love and the offense to move the ball in general through the air, on the ground. They just made it tough. And there were some turnovers on both sides, you know what I mean, from both teams. But in the end, the New Jersey Generals, you know, finished out week 3 with a 28-13 victory at Ford Field, one of the new hubs again. Now we move on to week 4. Excuse me, no, we don't. Now your week 3 player of the weeks were on offense. It was Wes Hills for the New Orleans Breakers. He had a phenomenal game. Reuben Foster was the defensive player of the week for Pittsburgh. And Chris Blewett, the Pittsburgh Maulers kicker, was your special teams player of the week because he made mad field goals for them. But that's how they got to their 21 points, actually, his field goals. But, yeah, it was definitely a good game for all those players that week in week 3. So they deserve those Player of the Week awards. Now we move on to week 4. And this is why I say Houston turned around their city, because they go into Ford Field to take on Philadelphia. And they blow them out. 41-16. Mark Thompson ran all over them boys. Philly didn't know what to do. Case Cookis got stopped. Their defense played like crap. Their offense played like crap. Houston played like a lights-out football team playing for a championship. That's how well they played in that game, and I can honestly say that because I watched every game. I've watched every game this season. Your second game of the week, in week 4, you got Memphis Showboats taking on the Michigan Panthers at Ford Field. Michigan's second home game in a row. You would think they'll come out firing on all cylinders. They get blown out 29-10. Memphis actually gets their first victory. And Cole Kelly and them boys, I know they were super excited to give Memphis a victory, even though it wasn't at home. But they got them a victory, you know what I mean, for the first time since the 80s, you know what I mean? So it was good to see. It was fun to watch, and it was an exciting game as well. Then you move on to New Orleans versus New Jersey. Now, this was a competitive game at the Hall of Fame Stadium in Canton. New Jersey and New Orleans, you can tell both of these teams are going to be really, really good this season. Just New Jersey just needs to work on some things, but New Orleans did edge out the victory with a 3-point win, 20-17. And gave New Jersey his second loss and became 4-0 and the only undefeated team for 2 weeks straight. So that takes us to Birmingham taking on Pittsburgh, and I got to give Troy Williams and the Pittsburgh Maulers so much credit because they gave them Birmingham Stallions a fight, and they took that game down to the wire and lost 24-20, but it was a close game. It was a competitive game, and like I said, it came down to the wire. But Birmingham edged it out. They go to 3-1. Pittsburgh drops to 1-3. Now your week 4 players of the week was, of course, Mark Thompson, the running back from Houston. On offense, Vontae Diggs, the linebacker on New Orleans. He was going crazy all over the field. And Deion Kane, the Birmingham Stallions kick returner, won Special Teams Player of the Week for that week, week 4. Then we get to our most recent week, week 5. You have Pittsburgh coming in to Ford Field taking on the Panthers. And again, Panthers at home. You're thinking, okay, they come off 2 straight losses. They're going to get it together this week. Run game gets shut down. Pass game gets shut down. They score 7 points. And Pittsburgh runs away with it 23-7. Troy Williams was on fire. He did his thing on the ground as well as through the air. So I have to give it to him. He's showing that he's a versatile quarterback. And they get the victory 23-7. Houston, like I said, Houston season turned around in week 2. And it really took a boost in week 3. And then it showed, week 3, week 3, and then week 4. Now you get to week 5, and Houston's taking on the defending champions, the Birmingham Stallions, and boom, 27-20 victory. Edged out, but they were putting a hurting on them. That defense was all over the place. That defense was making it hard for Alex McGough to do things. But don't get me wrong, Alex McGough did his thing, but they made it hard. That's all I'm going to say. They edged out the victory 27-20. Very good game. Just the attendance is making it hard for these games to be exciting for a lot of people. Then you get the New Jersey Generals and the Philadelphia Stars, a rematch from last year's North Championship game, and where the Philadelphia Stars actually won by 4 points, I believe. 5 points, 19-14. This game, another close game, back and forth. Philly actually had to come back, and they actually did come back and win 24-21. So they're 2-0 against New Jersey. That drops New Jersey to 2-3. But Philly's also 2-3. Memphis is also 2-3. There's a lot of 2-3 teams. And I believe the whole entire North is 2-3. Then you get to your final game of week 6, which was the Memphis Showboats taking on the New Orleans Breakers. And Memphis with the surprising upset. And when I say surprising, because this defense played a second game in a row of spectacular football. They were all over McLeod Bethel Thompson. All over him. Caused 2 interceptions plus 2 sack fumbles and just made it hard for him to really do anything on offense. They only scored 10 points. But their defense kept them in that game and held Memphis to only 17 points. Like I said, that Breakers defense, I have to say, is probably the best defense in the USFL right now. And they did a hell of a job with holding them to only 17 points. But that offense just couldn't get them to win. Too many turnovers, and that's what you get. You know what I mean? But that was week 5, and that's where we're currently at now. So far, like I said, I think we've had a decent amount of games that were watchable and that were good. Close, competitive, fun to watch. But again, it's just hard to be really, really into it all the way because we don't have the fans there to make it even more exciting. You know what I mean? They give us that full football experience. But let me know what you guys think in the comments of where we're at so far in the USFL season as far as how the games have gone. Not so much of the audience, but more so of how the games have gone and what you've seen out of the games that you've liked or disliked. Weeks 5 player of the weeks are Troy Williams, the quarterback for the Pittsburgh Maulers. Breland Speaks again for the Michigan Panthers, the defensive end, and the Philadelphia Stars kicker, Luis Aguilar, who went 8 for 8 in the game for field goals. That's what gave Philadelphia Stars that win. But he went 8 for 8. He gets the Special Teams Player of the Week for Week 5. And from now on, I will be bringing you guys a weekly video for the USFL, and recapping the week, going over the players of the week, and giving you my pick for next week. So, with that being said, before we get up out of here, we have the Pittsburgh Maulers taking on the Memphis Showboats. I have that as a up in the air type of game. I think Pittsburgh could edge out the win, but you never know. That Showboats defense is showing that they may be the second, third best defense in the league right now. So that's an up in the air game, but I think Memphis is going to pull that out. Birmingham and Michigan. I think Birmingham's going to pull this out, but I'm not going to call it for a Birmingham win for sure. I still believe Michigan can turn it around this week and pull out an upset victory, especially with Birmingham losing to important games. 2 important games. Then you got the New Orleans Breakers taking on the Philadelphia Stars. I have the Breakers in that game. I think that defense is just going to be all over Case Cookus. The coaching staff for the Philadelphia Stars hasn't gone out and got any linemen or anybody that's going to help protect Case Cookus. So I think that New Orleans Breakers defense is going to be all over his ass and make it hard for him to do anything. So I'm giving that game to New Orleans, hands down. And then New Jersey and Houston. I actually have New Jersey in this one. I feel that they need a win to keep that lead in the North Division. So I feel that they're going to come out and they're going to, put a hurting on Houston and make it a really competitive game. I think Houston's going to put a hurting on them. I think it's going to be a competitive game just overall on both sides of the field. But I think New Jersey will edge it out with probably a 3 to 6 point win. So that's how I'm feeling that Week 6 going to go with the USFL. If you guys feel different, let me know in the comments. Greatly appreciate it. I'll definitely chop it up with you guys. For all you guys watching, I greatly appreciate you being here and supporting me and supporting the Royalty Gamers and Podcast family. This is another video from the USFL Fresh Start series, and I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Again, like, subscribe, and go follow me on every other platform that I'm on and all the social media links. I will holler at you guys later. Again, man, thank you for all the love and gratitude comes from my heart, man. The gratitude really does. But thank you for all the love and the support, man. I really appreciate you guys. This is USFL Fresh Start. I am Jersey the King for Royalty Gamers and Podcast. Peace out.
I'm so raw. Yeah, boy, I'm so